Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Kimberly Cox from Journey to the New Normal, and I am so super excited to be here. Um, Today is day 3 of Vlogmas, and I have been literally, I have done day 1, day 2, and day 3 all within the same setting. So I'm getting these kind of ready to go so that they're up for the weekend. Well, not up for the weekend, but they're going to be ready to be posted for the weekend, be published. And it is today we are going to be talking about homeschooling or online schooling, which is what we do. We do online public school and the holidays. So, let me take a drink of water here, real quick. One of the things that a while back, if you followed me at all, when I was doing my old blog, which was called Adventures of Butt Mom, I did a lot of stuff about homeschooling because that was what I thought I was going to do. I was going to homeschool. My kids were going to be homeschooled. They were going to, get to kind of forge their own paths and everything. And I was, that was how things were going to go. And then we got around to actually trying to do the homeschool, to actually get the work done. And things got a little more complicated because my children don't always like to listen. And I know, nobody else's children are like that at all, right? So my thing is, I knew that I wanted to give them the opportunity to be home, especially because my oldest, even though she's 5, she's on the younger end of 5. She was just turning 5. She turned 5 in end of June. So I figured, if I do this at home, I can kind of see where she needs help. And, if it depends on how she does, there's thoughts of maybe her doing kindergarten again at public school next year. I know we're going to put her in public school. I just don't know whether it's going to be in kindergarten or first grade. So that just kind of all depends. For those of you who don't know, who haven't been following me, she has ADHD and she also has an unofficial autism diagnosis. So we're kind of hit and miss on the, she has an IEP and things. So, and she's in speech therapy and occupational therapy and stuff like that through the online school, which is really kind of neat. So she's got a lot of stuff in place for her that we wouldn't have been able to have in place right away at the public school, at the actual brick and mortar public school. So that's kind of why we went there. And if you have any questions about online public school, you can drop them in the comments below and I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So that's kind of why we did the online public school. And when I was going to do homeschool, I had this whole perfect plan. We were going to be able to take from the Monday before Thanksgiving, so the full week of Thanksgiving, not just Wednesday and Thursday, Friday, or Thursday, Friday, the whole week of Thanksgiving all the way until the second week of January. We were going to have that group, that nice big month and a half, 2 months off. And that was okay, we can do fun things and we can rest and we can, I was all about it. And then we go into public school, which has a calendar that you have to follow. And while I can, we can they have, the one thing that they have is their winter break is a guaranteed, has to have those days off because that's where the semester splits. So for us, it became all right, now we have to school through this, crazy Thanksgiving to Christmas kind of area. And that was something that I wasn't really thinking about until around the middle of October when Halloween started to be getting closer. and my kids were super excited about Halloween. And we started losing the attention span was getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So, and I know that there are probably teachers, and if you are a teacher and you have ever, felt this, let me know in the comments. I'm sure that all kids have that shorter attention span as the holidays come. But it's a little bit different when you already have that idea, that control, those control issues, and those, she's my oldest has kind of always had a mind of her own. She's very strong-willed or spirited, as some people call it. And so she has her kind of, she wants her own way. And if you are at all like me, you've had to figure out that you cannot force your kids to do anything. You can suggest that they do it, and you can reward them for doing it, and you can give them consequences if it doesn't happen, but you cannot force them to do stuff. So that was where having a teacher was a real nice thing. The teacher could tell her, you need to do this, and then mommy's just here to supervise and make sure you get it done. And that helps out a lot. So if that might be a little tidbit tip there if, you're worried that, you want to homeschool, but you're not sure. Depending on your reasoning, if you just really want to be more in control of how your child's being taught, something like that might be a really good way to do things. So, we as I started to notice that things were getting a little out of sorts, our attention span was getting shorter, things were getting a little crazier. I was like, "Oh, this is Halloween. Can you even imagine what it's going to be like after Thanksgiving?" Cuz that's when it's crazy because, they know it's like right around the corner. It's, and even though it's not, it's, even now, day 3, it's still 22 days away. Um, and I'm going to look at my notes again because, yeah, I want to make sure that I don't forget things. So I had to kind of come up with a plan on how to approach this. And so the first thing that I decided that I had to do was I had to lower my expectations. And when I say lower my expectations, what I mean is I had to lower my expectations on the amount of work that was going to get done and on the amount of time I was allowing for things. So instead of saying, okay, like my kids get up at 7 and they're done eating breakfast by 8 and so we can start school at 8 or 8:30 and they need 5 hours, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, we're done by 1:30, we're good. Like that's not how we do things right now. We are taking things literally like we get up, we do, wake up, morning stuff, breakfast, and then we do a fun thing, and then we do a lesson, and then we do a fun thing, and then we do a lesson, and then we take a break, and then we do a lesson, and then we do a fun thing, and we do a lesson, and we go back and forth like that. Because that's like all that we have the ability to do. Um, Sometimes when I say we do a lesson and then we take a break and then we do a lesson, sometimes that is we do one activity in a lesson and then we take a break and then we do the second activity in the same lesson and then we take a break. It just kind of all depends on where the attention span is and like what is going on that day, different things like that. So, for online school, we have like so many lessons, and there are certain, like, their core subjects. So, math, English, or language arts, I guess it is, science and social studies. Those 4 are broken up into A semester and B semester. So, for your A semester, it's going to look like, that has to be done before winter break. So there are so many lessons within there, and we have gotten behind because we had a lot of testing, we had a lot of evaluations and a lot of doctor's appointments and things going on. So now we're in more of a where we kind of understand, like we have a more of a schedule, a set schedule, so things aren't quite as erratic all over the place. But at the same time, there's more stuff being added and things like that, and then the attention spans are less and things. So we kind of got behind, and so now I've counted out lessons, and like I know how many lessons we have to do each day. And when I'm looking at a lesson, I know certain lessons we have to do the whole thing. Like we have to do the lesson as it's set in there. That's just all there is to it. And then there's other lessons that I know she knows a lot of the stuff about already. And so I can run through there. I can ask her the questions I know she knows. I can ask her questions she might know and see if she knows them. And then, we can work from there. And then we'll figure out what we need to work on so that she can, learn the material that she's supposed to learn, but also so that we're not sitting there and like doing classwork into 9, 10 o'clock at night because we had to keep taking breaks. So that was another thing I had to like lessen my expectations. And also that brings me to the taking more frequent breaks, which is something I also talk about in my blog post. And also planning. So, having a set routine and stuff like that, and then, working um, breaks into that routine so that it becomes okay. I know that once I get done with this paperwork, then I can do this, and then, so on and so forth. So it's taken a lot of trial and error to kind of find our way, and we're still working on it. But we're doing a lot better as we're going. So it's getting better and it's getting easier. That's definitely for sure. So now another thing that I was talking about in there was fitting holiday stuff into the school schedule. So, while you're doing Christmas card writing, you're learning to read what you're writing. Um, and so, like, working on things like first sounds, ending sounds, and working on things like reading, like sounding out words and stuff. If I write something for her, then she can look at it and I can help her sound it out. I can help her read it. We can talk about first and last sounds. We can do letter recognition on that and all of that kind of stuff. Um, if you want to take it a step further and they can help address the envelopes that are going out, then you can even talk about numbers in the address and the zip code and things like that. So, and that could actually also go into social studies because as you're mailing your Christmas cards out, you can show your kids where you're mailing them out to. So, they're going, we live here, and then, grandma lives there, and, aunt so and so lives out here and stuff. So those are all ways to incorporate something as simple as making Christmas cards, which is like, I think we've all done it as kids, take a piece of construction paper and fold it in half and color on it and, you're done. So things like that. Things like baking. Baking is a good one for science and math because you have to do measuring and baking is a chemical reaction, how things happen and stuff. So that's another one of my things is as I'm doing stuff that we have planned to do, I am keeping in mind how I can use this to work with her on what she needs help with. So that is another thing. And then I also had to lower my expectations on the holidays themselves. Um, it's been a really awesome year as far as like we've gotten a lot more information. We have some official diagnosis and stuff. So, I mean, we're getting further in our journey with the ADHD and stuff like that. Um, but it's really for us it's like okay, like I could try to take it over the top, which personally I am with Vlogmas and Podmas and yeah. Um, but I could try to like force everyone to push it over the top, or I could just kind of dial it back a little bit, pick out the things that are super important. Like, I know we want to go see Santa, and I know that I want to take them each to go, like, shop for their sisters. And, so there are things that I know I want to do that I'm going to work into our schedule. And then there are things that I know they want to do. And so I can find the things that are easier, like making Christmas cards, okay? I can do making Christmas cards or even making like bread dough or salt dough ornaments are things that we can do in an hour on an afternoon after school. Whereas things like an outing where we're going to see Santa or an actual like big craft like making the gingerbread houses because you got to make them and then you got to decorate them. And when you have kids that have problems with impulse control, you are going to always hear for the whole rest of that day, like you make them one day and then you decorate them the next, and you're going to hear from the first day after you make them until you start decorating them, are they ready yet, is it time to decorate them yet, over and over and over and over. So trying to get schoolwork done in the middle of that is like ridiculous. So doing stuff like that on a weekend when I can devote time to just holiday stuff and we're not worried about school, that's like, a perfect way to kind of balance things. So we do outings and we do like big crafty projects and things like that on our weekends. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, even though we have school on Friday. Um, right now I have it so that like she only has like 3 lessons that she has to get done on Fridays, and we actually only have one more actual Friday, I think. Yeah, because this is going up on Sunday. And so we'll have one more actual Friday, and then the Friday after that, we actually have um, the online public school is having a Christmas party. So we will be traveling to that. So that's an exciting thing that's coming up. So there is all of that. And then, yeah, there's all of that. So that is pretty much how we do online school during the holidays. If you have any questions or anything you want to, talk about, ask, or, any suggestions or whatever, drop it in the comments below. I am so excited for tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a really awesome kind of compilation of our weekend. So I'm sure you guys are all going to be excited to see all this cool stuff that happened from the 1st through the 3rd of December. So I'm actually kind of excited to see what happens too, because, it's still November 30th for me right now. So, alrighty. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.